Hey guys, True Danger back on the scene. How's it going? Happy holidays. Enjoy your time off. Hope everything's going great. Okay, so today, as always, you guys know I try to change up the hat and shirt because I got a lot of stuff I go through. So I have a lot of hats. I'm representing He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This is the 1987 film they did that was not perfect, but it was still an interesting, cool movie. And it's interesting because it's one of those movies where it's like if they really spent more time and more money, the potential that they could have had for it because He-Man and Skeletor in that film were awesome. And it's just like you had that, but they kind of dropped the ball. So anyway, I'm also wearing He-Man and the Masters of the Universe hat, representing. So the reason I'm wearing this is I decided to tell a very special story about how He-Man and the Masters of the Universe helped mold my life in a lot of ways. I grew up, I was born in 83. So I was, a little kid, in the late '80s, and He-Man was one of the things. There was many things going on at that time, and He-Man was one of those many things that I was a big fan of. And he did a lot for my life. If you guys ever watched the original show, they had a little section at the end for kids to learn about things, tell them the truth, being an honest person, not being rude to people, it taught you a lot of different things. So He-Man, besides him being as awesome as he was, he taught you a lot of things. And the story I'm about to share is a little sad story, guys, but it's about me. So bear with me, but I think that it may just get you guys kind of thinking about things. And I'll share with you guys what's going on. Okay, here we go. So I had actually taken this photo. When you guys go on the Danger Customs, you see a picture of me as a kid with the He-Man armor. That's not a CGI picture. That's an actual real picture. That's a real plastic sword, chest plate, shield. And I got that on the Queen Mary in 1986. Um, my grandma actually paid for it when we were on the Queen Mary, the little photo booth thing back in the 80s, and I did that, and I was excited because I love He-Man. So it was a big thing, and it's my favorite picture of myself as a kid. And that's actually a fixed picture, what you guys are seeing, which I have framed up by 24 by 36 on my wall right here. And the original picture, which I also have framed right next to it, is very much smaller. It's probably like I don't know, I'm sorry, my measurements, if they're not right, they're like an 8 by 10, something like that, maybe a little bit bigger. And it's really messed up. Okay, it's like it's torn. A big section of it is torn. It's got a lot of rips in it and things like that. And the reason why uh, it's like that is my dad and I. My dad was a very abusive guy sometimes, and when I was a kid, I was in junior high at the time, and we were moving. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, it was just like one of those things. Like next day, pow, we're moving, and there wasn't enough time to pack up everything, all in order. It was just like kind of a quick, you know, angry parent, we got to move kind of thing going on. And my dad was just coming and throwing stuff in my room. He didn't give me a second to pack it up. It was just like, okay, just give me a minute to pack it up, and I'll meet the schedule you want, no problem. But he just couldn't handle it. He's just throwing everybody's stuff. He's throwing my mom's stuff. He's throwing my sister's stuff. He was throwing my stuff. He was throwing his stuff. He was throwing the garbage, whatever. He was just kind of just in a really, really bad mood, about that. When my dad got in bad moods, it was never a good thing. So the picture, actually, what happened with that was that he had knocked it off the wall, and I picked it up, and was of course going to pack it because it's my favorite picture. And he got mad, was like, no, put it in the trash. We don't have time for that. I said, put it in the trash. I'm not putting this in the trash. Like, this is my favorite picture. I can just pack it up and take it. Just take me a second. But he didn't want that. He's like, put it in the trash. I said, no, I'm not going to put it in the trash. So I had it by my face, like this. I was holding it like this, and I was talking to him and stuff, and he hit me, and I was right by a wall, right? So the picture, it had it was glass in the frame, and the glass had broken, and it had cut my face and cut my hands, so I was bleeding. And the picture had been in that frame all that time, so the picture had gotten stuck to a lot of the glass, so it had gotten messed up and peeled. So I was trying to get whatever I could off the glass and save as much as I could of the picture, you know, and I had to put it in the trash for a minute. So then my dad would get what he wanted and eventually disappear, and then jump in the trash and then dig it back out and save it and pack it. So it was kind of a journey, and of course I was bleeding and stuff like that. It wasn't a good time. Um, and my dad was, like I said, was a very abusive guy. I went through a lot of really rough beatings with him. Not like a lot of these kids are talking about today, like, oh, my parents yelled at me. I'm upset. They gave me a little spanking. I'm upset. No, 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 no. My dad, full fist, full, front and backhand. Knock you around. Bust the nose, lips bleeding. Bruises, stuff like that, some real stuff. And it wasn't like, oh, I was cutting up. It was like, no, he'd just get mad, ask him for help with homework, and he'd lose his stuff, because I didn't, figure out the math problem fast enough, or I didn't give him the answer quick enough. It was a lot of stuff like that, or he was just having a frustrated day and something happened and he took it out on you. It was a lot of stuff like that. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, life can be difficult, but at that time, I remember, I was looking at that picture that He-Man was one of my heroes, one of my many heroes. And I started to think about the importance of He-Man and what he represented, in my life. And even though I was going through a difficult time, He-Man kept me grounded, and it made me accountable in a lot of ways. So, with a lot of these real and fictional heroes, they all seem to carry an integrity thing with them, which is awesome. And the thing about the picture, having it up here on the wall, let me see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it super great, but we're going to try here. Master picture that you guys see, 6, and here is the torn up picture you guys can see. Okay, so here they are, side by side. Cool. All right. Hey, back in here. And what He-Man taught me, stuck with me my entire life. I have He-Man storybooks. That one of my first books was He-Man and the Sunbird Legacy by Golden Books. And I read that book to my son, all the time. And he's super young. And he doesn't know it yet, but his birthday's coming up. And I got him a giant box. My wife and I are going to be drawing a Castle Grayskull on it and give it to him. And inside is the Power Sword, He-Man hat, He-Man shirt, and yes, a He-Man Prince Valiant wig, and He-Man and Skeletor, the new toy line they just did, a He-Man and Skeletor and Battle Cat also in there. And we're going to put it all together in one giant box for him and give it to him. But before I give it to him, I'm going to tell him the lesson that I tell everyone that sees these two pictures. Because they always ask, they say, what's up with the two? And I go, well, this one's the original one that got messed up, and this is the one that I got fixed. And they go, oh, okay. I said, but there's a little bit more to the story. So I tell them a little bit of what had happened and taken place between me and my dad. And then I tell them the story of this. The messed up picture represents my father and everything not to do as a father or a husband, that you should not do. Just as a human being, you should not do. That's what the torn up picture represents now, is it represents the bad things that happen in life for me. Okay. And the bad things my father was doing at the time, that is something that is represented in the torn up picture. Now, the new picture is everything I should always strive to be: a person of honor, respect, integrity, courage, being humble, being kind, doing what's right, defending the weak the best of my abilities, doing those things, those good moral things. So what I'm going to show my son, because he's really young, so he doesn't really understand yet, is, I'm just going to go, hey, Dad, I want you to understand, as I give you these things, I want you to look at this picture and know that this is right way to live your life, and this is the wrong way. And every day I get up and I work out, or I walk by that picture, both those pictures, and I'll look in the big picture and I'll say, this is who I am, this is who I represent. And I'm going to go out in life always reminding myself as I look at this picture of who I'm supposed to be at all times. And this picture of negativity keeps me accountable to always go, you know what? This is not how I need to be. This is not how I need to act. This is not something that I should be proud of. This is something to be proud of. This is something to strive for. So both pictures keep me in line, and sometimes we need little reminders like that. People might think it's corny, but I don't care. Because those people that think it's corny, do they have reminders in their life? I guarantee you they're going around making all sorts of crazy mistakes, doing things they definitely shouldn't be doing. So because I have a reminder to keep me accountable to be a better husband and father and just all around better person, I'm corny. I don't think that that's something that should be considered corny for you to improve and go into your life better. So if it helps make you better, I don't care what it is, use it. That's what I'm saying. Whatever it is in life that you need that helps you be a better person, to have better character and strength and courage, and to stand for what you believe in, if that helps you do it, heck, I don't care if you hum the G.I. Joe song. If you go, G.I. Joe, if that does it for you, you do that once a day and it helps to remind you to stay on a path, then do it. Do it. That's the problem with people today. They want to say this is stupid and that's this and that's ridiculous and that's this and that. Okay? But look at what you're doing. Those that have of us that have those reminders to keep us accountable, and look at the ones that don't have those reminders to keep them accountable. Now, which one is doing better in their life and being more kind and handling their business better? See, that's the thing. People have these good luck charms, whatever helps you to achieve the goals that you want to in life and helps you to be a great, decent person. Those are the things you should cling to, So don't let people put you down. And He-Man is one of those things. I have a couple things, but it is, this picture, as I showed you guys, is like the thing that really takes me to a dark place in my life that really hurt. And destroyed the joy that I had in my childhood, because this picture reminds me of a time when life was good and everything, and when that picture got destroyed, it kind of destroyed a piece of me. And so when I had a friend of mine that actually made the fixed picture, which you guys see in my little profile thing, and the picture I showed you, the 24 by 36 one, when he rebuilt that, it helped rebuild a piece of me. And then that's when I put both of them up and said, I bought a frame that day when I got it. And I said, this is who who I strive to be, and this is the most important photo of me that I like the most, that represents not just me, but He-Man and the good principles and that time in my life and the influence that it had on my life that he had. And the torn up picture, you know, it represents a bad time where I felt like I was going to lose everything, my mind, everything, you know, because I was just going through a hard time. I was going through a difficult time trying to, just be a kid and trying to live life, but my dad was making it a little bit extra difficult. Both my parents really were. Um, and it was hard, and I struggled with it, not from this incident. There were many more to come later on, unfortunately. Um, and so my life, I kind of came out kind of weird because things were difficult, and there was a lot I had to learn, that my parents did not teach me, because they were kind of wrapped up in whatever their own thing, whatever you want to call it. So I had to learn, and get around, people that were willing to teach me. And, when I met my wife, she helped out in a lot of ways and, believed in me. And, I kind of started to shape it up and change and grow into the man I needed to become. And it was a journey. It was a really difficult, hard journey. And that's what I want you guys to understand is when I say, if you guys reach out to me in an email, and then I could, I can give you some time on the phone. We can talk, we can email, whatever works for you guys, to give you guys that help and that influence and that encouragement that you need. I mean that because I've been there. I've been at the bottom of the barrel, guys. I may have grown up in the suburbs in a middle class kind of situation, but the funny thing about that is it does not mean a thing if your parents are not right. Okay? And what I mean is if your parents are abusive, if your parents are, not the type of the people they should be, doesn't matter if you're living in the poorest neighborhood or the richest neighborhood. And the thing about growing up rich or middle class is it's really strange because people have this image of your family, in their head, that they're perfect, that they're nice, that they're all this, and they do everything right. And they say, gee, golly, and gosh, and you're in there all good. And then all of a sudden, they don't understand what it's really like being, at home when their masks come off. Because when they come to visit, the barbecues and stuff, they're wearing a mask. So they're representing something that they want everyone to see them as, not as who they truly are, right? So because of that, a lot of people don't understand it when, people like myself start telling their stories, about like how difficult it was for at home. And they go, well, I don't believe that because I knew his dad or I knew his mom and he was he was a nice guy and he was good. Yeah, that was in front of you. But when, everyone went home and we had the real version of them and the mask came off, they were a monster. They could be a monster, and I suffered at the hand of my parents for a lot of years, and my parents were the type of people that were not going to be embarrassed. And what that meant was I was not a good student. I had bad grades, and not because I was like clowning in class. It was just like I didn't understand a lot of things. I may have had some sort of learning disability or whatever, but I wasn't understanding a lot of different things. And this goes all the way to elementary. Like I had difficulties. And my parents, that was considered an embarrassment and a no, because my siblings, they all did well at school. Okay. I mean, well, like I have a sister that has a PhD, like that good, I have, sisters that have master's degrees, my brother has a master's degree, like they were very well off with school, and I was the only one that was having problems, that did not do well in school. And so that was considered an embarrassment and a shame on their family. So how did they deal with it? Well, they kicked the crap out of me, I brought home a bad grade, kicked the crap out of, and that's just what it was, and they didn't really help me to grow. Okay, instead of why is he having problems? Is he having a learning disability? Do we need to figure out how he learns? Do we need to figure out tutoring? Do we need to figure out how to get him um, in better shape with all this stuff? No, that was not the answer for them. They were embarrassed, and I wasn't going to embarrass them. And they didn't want people to know that I had bad grades and that, was having difficulty. So, that's just a tip of the iceberg on all the stuff that happened there at the house, at the time. There was a lot going on, guys. Um, so it's very deep, and one of the things I didn't talk about on Big Herc and OG Silverback, a lot of people asked me about um, the weird child molester stuff that was going on, in the town that I worked in, which was Barstow, all the nasty stuff like that I saw with some of the court cases and people coming in. There was the main guy that would come in and molest a lot of kids out in Barstow. And people made comments like, man, he was really in some pain. Well, the reason, besides I felt for the kids, obviously, and I do not and will not ever like or respect a child molester. They're dirt to me. I think they should all be killed, personally. But that's just me talking. That's how I feel about it. They're scum of the earth because I was molested, and see that's the reality that comes with that story, and that's why you see the pain on my face is that I was actually molested, and I never forgot the pain that it caused me and how it really screwed up my life. Because some people get molested and I've seen some of them do very well. But it really screwed up my life. It wasn't super bad, but it was enough to kind of just really take your life out of whack. And I look at if I had not experienced that, if my parents did not approach things in the ways that they did, how my life possibly would have been a lot different. And it would have. And I think in a positive way. So that's what I tell when I tell you guys, like I'm there for you, we can talk about these things. I've been through all sorts of things, guys. Like I had mentioned, I had a stroke when I was 25. I've had cancer. I got in a huge car wreck, lost left eyesight for a long time, had several concussions, I even had shingles. I have shingles, and I'm not even a senior citizen because my life was that stressful and I was stressing that hard and that bad, and I ended up with shingles, guys. So I know stress. I know suicidal thoughts. I was there. I overdosed when I was in 11th grade on painkillers, and I was standing in the bathroom, and I was using the bathroom, and I passed out, and my face hit the bathtub, busted my nose, and I woke up. My dad's standing over me and blood all over my face. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor talked to me and said, look, I know that you overdosed. My dad wasn't in the room, and he was like, is there a problem at home? And I just said, look, if he knows that I overdosed, it's going to be really rough for me at home. If I make you the promise that I promise not to overdose again, will you not tell him? And the doctor agreed and allowed me to, it was not known that I overdosed. And I was very grateful for that, because my dad would have brought some serious pain down on me just for that. And he wouldn't have asked me, well, why are you overdosing? And, things like that. He's just like, oh, you're being one of those hardhead kids, and he's getting on drugs. And, oh, I'm not having that at my house. It would have been a lot of that. It wouldn't have been, maybe he's trying to reach out for help or he's trying to let us know something. So I get it, guys. I've been there. I've done a lot of things. I've been around a lot of things. And I've tried to really learn from it and change up my life for the better and try to help people in any way that I can and live a positive life. Not just for myself, but like I've mentioned, for my wife and for my son. And for you guys, to be somewhat of a beacon of hope if I could be that. and not in an arrogant way, just like in a positive way where I can, reach out and touch people, in a really positive way is really where I'm coming from, and that's what I try to do, you know. So guys, as we come into 2021, as I said in my previous video, let's do it right. Let's be the best we can be. Let's do it the right way, guys. Starting out this year, and lots of love to you and your family. True Danger here. D is for danger, and I've got to say it. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. Representing Team He-Man. All the way, guys. All right. Tune in next time to the next video, guys. All right. True Danger out.